Loo-Wit, the Firekeeper and the Making of Mount St. Helens. This story is available on the Washington State Since Time Immemorial website. Many, many years ago, when the earth was young, the Great Spirit, Creator, made sure that everyone on earth had all that they needed to be happy. It was a time when all the trees, animals, and birds were able to talk, just like the people. There was plenty of food, plenty of land for everybody. But although everyone should have been happy, two brothers began to argue. Instead of working together, each wanted to control the land. As the Creator watched, it made him sad, and soon the brothers made war. So one night, as the brothers slept, the Great Spirit carried them away to a new country. As the sun began to rise, the Creator gently awakened the brothers. They were amazed at what they saw. There was a beautiful river, the Columbia, and tall mountains that reached all the way into the clouds. It made their hearts warm and good. Lying next to each brother was a bow and a single arrow. You must each take the bow and arrow I have given you and follow my instructions, the Creator said. Aim your bow high into the air, shoot your arrow in opposite directions, and the land for you and your people will be where your arrow falls. You will each be a great chief in the land I have given you, and you must live in peace. The river shall divide you. The brothers obeyed. As the other brother pulled the string of his bow back and aimed his arrow, he arched it high over the river. His arrow landed south of the Willamette River. He gathered his people and traveled to his new land. He and his people would later be known as the Multnomas. As the younger brother took aim, his arrow went north of the great river. He and his people became the Klickitats. Although the two people were separated by distance, there was a great stone bridge which connected them and lay across the great river between them. This great stone bridge will remain there as a sign of peace between the Klickitats and the Multnomas. This bridge, said the Creator, is a sign of peace. It will remain as long as your hearts are good. It will be here so you can visit each other. But if you ever fight again, this bridge will fall, and you will be separated from each other and forced to stay on your side of the river. For many, many years, many seasons, the Klickitats and the Multnomas remained at peace. But slowly, they began to look at each other's land with greed. The land to the south is better than ours, said the Klickitats, and the Multnomas said, the land of the north is more beautiful than what we have. Again, the two tribes began to quarrel. When the Creator saw this, he was again sad. He wanted all the people everywhere to live together in peace. It made his heart sad to see them quarreling and fighting. He didn't want to destroy the great bridge. So the Creator darkened the skies and took fire away from the people. Now fire was very important. It gave them warmth when the rain and cold weather came, and they used fire to cook with. But now, there was no more fire, and the people, they suffered. Please give us back fire, the people begged. We will live in peace. The prayers of all the people touched the Creator's heart. There was only one place on earth where fire remained still, and that was at the lodge of Loo-Wit. She wasn't greedy, and she stayed out of all the quarreling, so fire had continued to burn in her lodge. But although her heart was good and beautiful, she was an old, old woman. The Creator said to Loo-Wit, I have heard the prayers of the people. Will you please share your fire with them? In return, I will give you whatever you wish. Loo-Wit didn't even have to think about it for a second. She immediately replied, I want to be young and beautiful. And so it shall be, said the Creator. Take your fire to the great stone bridge, which is right over the river. You must keep the fire burning. Let all the people come to get fire from you for their lodges. You must remain at the great stone bridge. Remind all the people that their hearts must stay good. And Loo-Wit followed the instructions of the Creator. She took her place at the great stone bridge. The prayers of the people were answered. When the people came to the great stone bridge to get fire, they saw before them a beautiful young maiden, not an ugly, toothless old lady. The people's hearts were once again good, and they were at peace. Loo-Wit radiated like the sunshine, and the people were in awe of her beauty. One day, the chief of the people from the north and the chief of the people from the south came to the great bridge, and when they saw the beautiful Loo-Wit, they both fell in love with her, and they started to fight over who was going to marry her. When the Great Spirit saw the two chiefs arguing, he became very angry. He had had enough of this fighting. He changed both of the chiefs into two great snow mountains. The chief of the Klickitats in the north became Mount Adams. The chief from the people in the south, the Multnomas, became Mount Hood. The two great mountains are still remembered. Their quarreling continues to keep them old rivalries. On an occasion, when the Great Spirit was called to another part of the world, the mountains started fighting again. This time, the mountains' quarrels shook the earth. Sometimes they even threw up white-hot stones and smoke at each other, setting fires to the forest, and it killed some of the animals. The people living around Mount Adams and Mount Hood had to flee and hide, get out of there, so that they would not be destroyed by the anger of the two mountains. During one of the wars between Mount Hood and Mount Adams, they were spewing rocks and liquid fire. Loo-Wit did her best to save the Great Stone Bridge from destruction. She stayed at her post the whole time, but she was so badly burned and battered by the large hot rocks. When the Great Stone Bridge finally broke apart, it fell into the river, and so did she. Loo-Wit was heartbroken that her beauty had caused such pain and destruction. When the Great Spirit returned from his journey, it was too late to prevent the terrible crash of the stone bridge. He heard the moan of Loo-Wit where she had fallen. When he learned how brave she had been and how she stayed at her post, he wanted to reward her for her trustworthiness. Loo-Wit is no longer a beautiful young woman. Great Spirit took pity on her, and he changed her into a beautiful young mountain, the mountain we know today as Mount St. Helens. Because of her faithfulness, Loo-Wit was allowed to keep the fire within herself, which she had once shared on the Great Stone Bridge. For many years, she slept peacefully, withdrawn from the mountain range. And we're told that we humans should treat the land with respect. For if we don't, someday, Loo-Wit might wake up like she did in 1980. Loo-Wit is the eruption that we know as Mount St. Helens. Habu.